EMF. This is measuring electricity in the air. She just had a 33. That is astronomically high for being outdoors. You will ignore your readings, by the way, when you're on the parking, on the sidewalks, and when we're on a crosswalk. Okay. Our electrical lines are underneath our sidewalks, so it's going to make it go off like 5 to 9. So again, in between spaces, just ignore. So how does that thing actually work? If we were obviously next to a parking meter, it would give off like a 5 to a 9, so it's going to measure the electricity around it. Things around your home. TV sets, that's going to give off about a 40 to 60. If you put it behind your TV set, just kind of giving you an idea of what a reading like that looks like. Your microwave that's heating up your food is about 150 to 170 on the outside of it. So that's a lot of electricity coming out of that guy. So I do a lot of measurements to test this. So I will tell you that the average spike for this location, and I say spike because it'll go in between these numbers and then usually drop back down to less than 2, is about 18 to 22 milligauss. So she already got a 33. I'm super excited. Your new baseline is going to be like a 20. So let's just say anything 20 and above at this point. Now, the highest I've ever seen that guy go in my 11 years of ghost hunting has been at this location, 214 milligauss.
Oh my
gosh. Like putting your head inside the running microwave. We got the hell out of here. I already told you I have epilepsy. It's too much electricity for the guy with the neurological disorder. Yeah. We were gone. So here's how this space is going to work. We're going to talk about the history. We're going to spread out a little bit. We're going to stay away from the vehicles. I know that there's a good handful of them in here tonight. This is actually pretty light for a Saturday. I'm surprised we're in a parking space right now, to be honest with you. And then I will regroup us to kind of cover all of the answers and show you how everything ties together. And then I'll explain the next space. And that's how we will work throughout the entire evening. If there's not a whole lot going on with this location, I do one round robin with you guys when you're out in the field and kind of see what's going on. Take a quick assessment. If there's not much, I'll regroup us pretty quickly and then we'll move on. If there is things going on and I need a secondary clue from something because we have a very solid piece, I'll do one more round robin, then bring us back. This is the space where I actually cut through every night and I tell Eliza all of your names. So, where the hell are we? Welcome to a parking lot. Congrats, you made it. I told you, I'm taking you to weird places. The other ghost tours don't come here. Why? There's nothing to see, right? We got a 97% waiting to this movie. So that's what we have. So this place used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of the space, facing the full moon. And, well, it's not quite a full moon. It just looks way brighter than it did last night because there's no clouds. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant. That is a restaurant, by the way. It used to be a church. And it came all the way across. And then we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Who the hell were these people now? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. And they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks, in case you were losing track of that. That's why we look for those secondary clues. In the event that the name Charles shows up on Joey's word list, Arnaldo might actually have to give me this secondary clue so I know which Charles it was, right? So that's the reason why I bring that kind of point up. Also, because the son and the nephew, Charles and Charles, they were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I do hate politics. So we're going to discuss Eliza. She has a much better story anyway, so yeah, watch your camera. Yeah, you look like a YouTuber. She's like completely turned away from the rest of the group, and she's like, look at the people.
I just kept mine on and just kind of...
I see that. So, I'm sorry, I'm a bad dad with these cameras. I've been yelled at way too many times about cameras. People get really weirded out about it. So, and by the way, if you were wondering where all the weirdos are tonight, look around, you're them. Because again, when we go to
I don't want to just keep it right here. That just seems boring.
It's not going to be if something goes by. So. Yeah. And not to mention, it's still recording audio. So both of your cameras are recording audio as well. So you won't just have my EVP recording, you'll have the EVP recordings from your video cameras as well. All right, so back to Eliza. Let's talk about her. She married Charles at a very young age, according to today's standards. I say that because for those of you with communication devices, which is somebody in every group, if you ask her, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial days that she came from. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age when they got married. Yeah, kind of a creepy age gap then, creepy age gap now. I'm just going to put that in the back of your brain. Which, by the way, speaking of, this is where I start withholding information on purpose. I'm not going to be giving you guys questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, right? Like, that's too simple. You already know the answer to that. You will be getting the answers from your spirit boxes, hopefully. Now, back to Eliza. She married Charles because her father was over in England and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all his children home one last time so he can see them. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. It was 1744. She stayed put and got married. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet, so there's no such thing as a green card. She did marry him out of love. This is a true love story. Do not poke the bear and piss off this prominent Englishwoman, please. So we already already got a 33. Let's hope it goes up way higher than that. So with that, that usually comes with spurs of other things that are going to be happening. Let's put you on mute. Perfect. So you'll be able to unmute it once we're done here, and I'll say, let's go. So back to Eliza. She was right. Her father did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing right now. You guys have been in town for at least a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. He sent her seeds of indigo. What is that? That is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight. So that's how we use it today. When she got them, she didn't know what to do with it.
I read a book about her.
The Indigo Girl.
Yeah.
This is her story.
Great book.
Yes, it was. Very romanticized, but good book. Sorry. Do my research,
Sorry.
obviously.
I digress.
And
All of a
as
sudden
a-
I'm like, oh.
Obviously, I'm a writer, so I do a lot of reading. So that was a very big, like, oh, let's see what the fictional part of this says. But anyway, back to Eliza. So when she got her seeds, she had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, believe it or not. You're feeling it right now. It's a little chill. Some of you are wearing long sleeves, which is surprising to me because I'm like, this is gorgeous. But anyway, once she learned how to keep it going, she learned how to make the dye, then moved it to a cash crop. Got a hold of her dad and said, our rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. We now have a prominent English woman, or basically a prominent businesswoman in colonial days, which is something you just don't hear, right? So especially before our country was actually started. So that's the boring business stuff, unless of course it's put in a very fictional, romantic type of comedy book. So, not a comedy, you get my point. But anyway, let's get into the weird stuff. So with all the communication devices, I'm going to give you guys a series of questions to focus on. What I do want you to understand is that we're using 3 different pieces of communication tonight, plus 2 audio, plus my audio. So again, lots of communication. If you guys are asking a question, he might get the answer. We never know where it's going to go. Even when I have just 2 people, we're still going to use 2 pieces of communication to verify where it's going to actually be, or to verify something that was already heard or seen. So let's kind of see how this is going to go. So between the 2 of you, we're going to give you kind of like 2 sets of major questions because, again, you guys, your devices, yours is only going to give us 1 and 2 syllable answers. We're going to start off with what happened to the mansion. It's not here. So it's obviously some kind of tragedy, so I'll give you that. If you get the what that comes out of it, we will normally get 2 or 3 numbers of the date, of the exact time of when that occurred. So it could come in the form of numbers, could be in the form of like month, day, and year. We never know how it pops up. You can imagine my surprise when we get the tragedy and then we get the exact numbers. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We've gotten it several times in the 4 years that I've been coming here. You'll see what those numbers are before we leave the space. The other thing about the 2 of you is that Eliza, that I just told you about, is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. You probably already knew that because of the damn book. Now, the first wife was also named Eliza, right? So, ironically enough, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Figure out which Eliza we're dealing with. Believe it or not, we actually had the first wife's maiden name show up here last night, so I was kind of surprised to see that. So again, we don't always get it, but it did show up. So it was kind of like, all right, we didn't have any other clue to verify it. Could have been a coincidence, which I don't believe in, but at the same time, we only had something like that here. So ask which Eliza. You can also ask those marriage questions. How old were you when you got married? How old was Charles? How long were you married? Ronaldo. Sorry, I keep wanting to call you Ronaldo because I used to have an employee named Ronaldo.
He's my favorite player though. For soccer?
Oh, soccer, yeah. But he was a very dear friend of mine, and he lost his son. So I was at his son's wedding before he passed away, and he passed away cancer. I think that was his dying wish to get married. So that was like 2 weeks before he. So you're kind of like your name is just reminding me of all of that from like over a decade ago. So when I saw you come in, I'm like, Ronaldo, how am I going to keep this straight? But anyway, your set of questions are going to be after Eliza's death. 4 major questions that we commonly get the answers to: how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So, out of all of everybody here, the only thing I'm going to ask of you is that you do not poke questions about her children. We're still somewhat on a sensitive area about her children, where there's a tragedy among one of them. I will tell you about it before we leave the space. Just don't poke the bear, because I like to keep this place very gentle. So we can get you unmuted. Looks like both cameras are still running. What's the last couple of words that we had pop up on there?
Purpose, how, and Ruby. White, belong.
A whole lot of nothing so far. All right, so use those in conjunction with one another and kind of see how they go. And again, if you're asking questions out loud, that's okay too. You can also just focus on them. There's no right or wrong way to do this, just so you guys have that thought process. So some people are very uncomfortable with asking questions to a person they can't see. I can guarantee you that the woman is here. Whether or not she wants to talk to you, that's up to her. I can't force her to do anything. So it's kind of how this goes. Any other crazy numbers I need to know about?
Well, they all went below 20.
Okay.
Oh, we're
What
supposed to
kind of numbers
ask
have you
when
been
she
seeing?
got married, how old she was when she was
Still take
married,
12.
how old was
Still a pretty
her
decent number.
husband.
I'll tell you that's pretty high for most places out there. So like you getting a 33 like right off the top. It is. So, but I'll take a 12 plus.
So what are the questions we're supposed to be asking her?
I would just start off with what happened to the mansion, and then when did that happen. So see if you can get some answers out of that.
Stay away from children questions. Don't poke the bear.
But
We are recording audio and video.
it's like a show.
Ask her when she got married.
What happened to the mansion?
Mm-hmm. When did she live here? It was just Joey. Are you here? This is your home, huh? Try not to cross over you because every time the dots come,
It's alright. Then they can. That's gonna be a base for it.
it's Joey. step.
Alright, you crazy kids. How we doing over here?
Awesome.
Picking up shadows?
You getting anything?
I mean, I could tell when it's like or like lights.
Can I just hit the screen real quick so I can see what's going on here? I don't know who the hell Carson is. Shoot. Make shoot.
See, like, I don't know.
Giant. Who did he play for? Do you remember?
Giants.
The Giants.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. So that's really the only, everything else looks pretty, I mean, I don't know what that 10 means. Oh, I might know what that 10 means. Did you have another number in here?
1.
Just one, okay. What questions were you asking?
When she died, what happened to the mansion?
Okay.
That?
I think,
Oh God.
just based on what I just saw in there, I don't think you're talking to
Is
Eliza.
that the tree?
I think you're talking to Charles, the nephew.
Okay.
So we'll kind of see what else pops up with that. So if you want to ask him maybe what else he did, like what were his jobs, because he had many. He was a politician, so he held many positions.
Okay.
So maybe,
Oh, that's cool.
so just kind of see like something pops up, anything that's a political term. I'll be able to verify it, but just based on what I've seen so far, you might actually have Charles the nephew here.
Got the
Okay.
So
So you have 52.8.
That's so cool.
that's what I'm talking.
What was that?
52.8.
52.8.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was really like, I didn't get my lips.
Yeah. I can imagine that. That's awesome.
There you go. Oh. This was your home. Are you here? When did you live here? Did you build this home with your husband?
Anything yet? Seen anything?
No.
I know when you had it down, I was looking, peeking, and I did see like some dots.
Yeah. Which I don't know, like I'm trying to get like if differentiate between lights or shadows or
Yeah.
as you can see. What were your answers?
They're all over the place.
You just need those ones
I just
that are
keep fucking.
you feel
I just
over
keep
there?
Going to the truck. Yeah.
That's where you feel?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah, this big ass truck to the left.
Wow. So a whole 25 years you guys been best friends, right?
Yeah.
You know you're old when people are making jokes about you being
31.
At least I put a specific number on it. I didn't say oh, it's been 14 years and make you guys 20.
How old is he? Do you think?
Yeah.
44. You'll probably be grandpa around that age.
So I have all my hair.
Oh my gosh, that is, yeah. Not much room, that's for
Oh, it's.
sure. See, I just read.
Anything else crazy coming out of yours, Joey?
Since we last talked, human, money, Claire, witness, additional tug, talented, ear, and one.
One again?
The like WON one, but it could be one, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it.
Honestly, I would have said.
She doesn't want to talk to us, does she?
Nephew, I think, is what he was saying.
That's cool that you got her nephew with dates that.
You'll see why that Boston could be an interesting piece to it. I'm going to actually have to dive in because I'm not sure if it's going to be relevant, but you'll see why we're interested in it.
Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, go ahead and stop your video.
What?
I did not
I knew
respond to that.
I knew
If
somebody
you
was gonna
notice,
hear it.
I did
Good job.
not respond to that.
Neither did she because she couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
so.
she didn't hear it, but I looked at him like,
not that
I got the chuckle at least, so that's all that matters, right?
bad. That's why.
Not bad. I get
to
it.
put them in.
I can insult her in front of
You
people.
guys are all hysterical, by the way. And Claudia is still looking around like, what did I sign up?
I'm just very quiet.
All right,
She's on
Philadelphia
my
now.
shit list because she didn't get me a water.
Wow. She just put you right on there. Check mark.
I invited you. You did.
We can go 10 grams, 10 grams.
10 grand.
No, I'm okay.
I got a kick going.
Don't scare, don't scare the middle-aged woman.
This is called Philadelphia Alley.
Does that matter?
This used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where some of the duels used to occur. And this tour is going to come down this way, and we'll move down further so I can get my light gauge that I normally go to because I need bright light. Obviously, I work in the damn dark. So, I'm sorry, guys. Here's how this piece of history goes. There was a doctor that moves down to Charleston from Rhode Island, which is part of the reason why we're looking for RI. Now, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancee, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a shit ton of money from her parents. She's an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. This person failing on that tour. It's another reason why I don't do 20 people. We're allowed to go to 20. Oh, you're good. There's trees on. That's fine.
Yeah, I know it made it just get a little bit.
It's really cool.
What was that voice back there?
That looks like a terrible tour to be on.
So can I turn this on now?
No. Yeah. I'm about to cover the history, and I'm going to want to listen to it, and then I'll screw up the history, and then you guys are going to know what the hell you're looking for. So once we exit the space, you'll be able to keep it going until we get to the next location. And then we're going to spread out at the next location as well. So, probably looks like they're pretty far away. In the event that they come up here, we'll just kind of split the seas and let them pass again. So, anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. So, that doctor, his name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So, if Arnaldo, if you're listening right now and you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name, and we get it here all the time. Just so you have that idea. Anyway.
If you want to sing, you can.
We're okay with that. I would just keep talking. But anyway, so the attorney that Amanda has thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the
You
doctor.
just said doctor.
Can't make
You
this
said
shit up.
doctor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so keep an eye on your EMF meter. You may get something. Again, I told you, I can't make this stuff up. This is why I have you guys do the work. Because again, this is where it's a genuine experience.
Like I just heard that.
Oh, you got chill.
You guys are funny. Hysterical. Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. So, on his way into town, the coachman that he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. he's seen what was about to happen. His name is Ralph Isaacs, the other set of initials of R.I. So, let this lady pass through. Hi, ladies. Oh, you're good, you're good. I was getting the letters R.I. all the time on regular spirit boxes, so to verify it is exactly why I bought that device that's in your hand. I wanted to make sure we were getting those letters, and we've had it at least half a dozen times in the past 6 months that I've had it. So, take it for what it's worth. Anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you can't stay here. I know that coachman, he's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them, and you'll be safe and good to go. 59 shows up here a lot on your guys' end, too, on the communication. Anyway, Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer of renting the room from his friends, and they became friends. So Ralph and the doctor are now friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money.
Hundreds of thousands of cash.
What?
We just heard hundreds
What
of
did it
thousands
say?
of dollars.
Hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of
Hundreds of
cash.
Oh my god.
So you have to remember, I do recite very specific lines to you guys regularly because of the key words. So it's not a script per se, it's just I make sure certain things are said because of the way these communication devices work. So it's not like the doctor doesn't know the damn story I'm telling you. It's his own,
Right.
and I recite it every night. So back to that. Amanda gets wind that the doctor's doing pretty well. So she's coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city you will ever visit has a cliched whistling ghost, which is another reason why I'm getting rid of this out of my route. We do get a lot of evidence from this, obviously, and we're going to get a lot more when we go across the street. It's going to come out of the other spirit box as well. Back to Dr. Ladd. By the way, every tour that's down here tells you to listen for those whistles. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other during these plays because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So, one night they go see Richard III, and they're walking home. They're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly, and they went their separate ways. I told you Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper and places an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of bullshit, right? Yeah, slap with a glove. No, doctor saw that ad in the paper, and he refuted with, let's just go to Dueler's Alley. Let's settle this shit. Somebody's going to die. So they came down. By the way, this all started over an argument about an actress. I'm just going to point that out. So they came down, took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor shot his gun in the air. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight, which is often what happens at a duel. But Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor doesn't die, but he fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786 after refusing medical treatment. I'm going to point out two things. First off, it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then. He refused the medical treatment simply because he's a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. But he failed because he died 10 days later. Now, again, like I said, every ghost tour tells you to listen for the whistles. We're running 2 video cameras plus my voice recorder. We will get a whistle on one of those things if it's going to occur. We don't need to stand here and wait for it. Secondly, we will get whistling parts of songs with the word doctor immediately after it. We've gotten it, can't tell you how many times in 4 years that that's actually occurred. So, if you're going to try this on your own, because I can't take you all the way through here, I'm going to explain that in a minute because I've actually been kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. I'm going to get to it. But if you listen to your voice recorders and just walk all the way through, listen to it later, just remember, every local knows the damn story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every morning. So when I'm done with your guys' data, I normally park over above the little convenience store where they have, and my office is this way. So I have to pass the alley to get to my car. I always throw a whistle down here, especially since I've been thrown out. Let's get to that. This alley. Oh wait, I'm gonna tell you who's gonna stop me, and then they're gonna put a stop to my business because that'll be my second warning. Yeah. So here's how this goes. This will also show you how I kind of piece all of our histories together. This alley specifically did not go all the way through this way. There was a wall about halfway between us and Cumberland Street. That's why I like to stop specifically right here. I've done the measurements. So the reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So imagine cows and chickens down here. This was called Cow Alley before it was called Dueler's Alley. So that means that the bricks way down on the other end that you see all the way down there, are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child in one of those bricks, and fingerprint swipes in others. If you go to some of our museums around here, there's actually some on display there as well, but the handprint is probably the most prominent one all around town. And I used to take my groups all the way through to the end. We actually used to come through another alley and go down here, and I would show off the handprint no matter the diversity of the group, because we all need to see how far we've come from slavery. But I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. I already told you I don't take you to cemeteries. Why would that kid be haunting that damn brick where he was a slave, sun-drying bricks in the sun? So, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen with the devices that I gave them. I know nothing's going to happen because the kid's not there. He's hanging out with his mom somewhere, probably at home, wherever he lived. So, I'm also trying to shoo them along because I'm trying to be respectful to the mansion that's right next to that brick, because there's a mansion at the end of the alley. Because that brick is right outside the kitchen window. You can see inside the kitchen. So, the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night. Her dad's getting yelled at. She thought it was super fantastic and hysterical all at the same time. And we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I did work in retail management for about 20 years, mainly with the biggest retailer in the world. I do not work on Thanksgiving ever again because I put up with too many fights over towels from you people. So, you guys are all guessing where I work now, aren't you? So, now, with that said, the next day was November 28th. I was sold out again. It's Black Friday. I called my partner that morning that I had at the time, and I told him what happened. He too laughed at me, just like my daughter did. And he said, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff point for tours at that time of night. You gotta go down halfway or reroute your group. So I decided to reroute my group. I told my team that night, because again, 10 people staring at me, waiting for something to happen. I told them, I don't believe in this next story we're going to because I'm a vampire guy. I'm not a pirate person, so we're going to be discussing pirates next, in case you haven't caught on to that. But before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be looking into or hunting down. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I went, oh shit, maybe we got something going on. We get up there, and I told them the little bit I did know about piracy, which wasn't much because tickets were much cheaper back then, and I could do whatever the hell I wanted to. But at the same time, somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what that meant. I wrote it down. I looked it up the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Wow. Now, that's normally the reaction that I get, but I was pissed off. Let me tell you why. Again, I'm a vampire guy, so we'll start there. But secondly, pirate stories come from pirate lore. I'm a writer. Even when I'm writing fiction, I need facts and data. When I'm doing paranormal investigations, only facts and data. Pirate lore was written 100 years after the facts of when these things allegedly happened. Do you know how many books I've had to read to try to debunk or prove what's going on with our spirit boxes and communication over there? I will tell you, everything I will tell you at the next location came from a minimum of 2 resources. Minimum. So I'm still playing video games with pirates in them. I'm watching documentaries on pirates. Like, I am still doing pirate research. I have probably read, I don't know, 40 to 50 books just on pirates and how to debunk the things that actually occurred during real time to make sure what we're going to be discussing at one story is legitimate. I go to the lengths to make sure like what we're doing is pretty solid stuff. It's a fun story, and it's also 50-50 shot, which is why I kind of like this area, because it gives me the bleed over in the event that Anne's not there at the same time we are. Dr. Ladd doesn't really move to many places. So he's going to stay here, give us that lingering effect because he knows I'm in the area, or he may go haunt near the house of where he once lived, which I can't take you to. So, any other major questions on pirates before we leave the space?
So
Wow.
why can't you go down to the end?
It's residential.
Also,
Yeah.
like, let's say tomorrow if we want to walk down, we can't do that.
I would advise it, like you guys can,
Yeah.
without me,
Yeah.
like when we're done,
Yeah.
by all means do so. But me taking a large group and walking around with a backpack and a vest,
Oh,
like
okay.
that guy's first off gonna probably recognize me because he already filed a complaint.
tours down there.
They only go halfway. There's a marker down there on the wall, so we're allowed to go up to that marker.
Oh,
That's
Because
why I
beyond
was
that,
looking
like,
at
there's
it.
the there's mansions off to the out to the right, and then on the left hand side is the Footlight Players Club, which is the actor studio for all the theaters around here, and they do galas down there, so they kind of need that kind of private and residential. And once you hit Queen Street, it's houses. So again, we actually have like a map that we have to follow of where we're allowed to stay and where we can go.
So when you were
So I kind of learned my route.
When you were
And that's part of the reason why I told you, like, my murder mystery that I'm adding for next year, where she died, where the murder actually happened, is out of bounds. So I have to find somewhere else within bounds that's going to be able to work.
Okay. When you were talking that he refused medical treatment, we got medicine on.
We also get things like doctoral. We get all of those kind of like PhD degrees and that kind of stuff will show up on there. So I'm not surprised that you had medicine as well. Did you get an RI for us at all?
Not yet.
Any letters at all?
VJPNOL.
Maybe we'll get NOLA. New Orleans. That would be interesting.
Wow.
I will tell you that the name of the city, which is about 5 syllables. Sorry, I'm trying to count the syllables in my head. A 5-syllable city name came through 2 nights ago, and it is the name of the city where Dr. Ladd is buried.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Again, it is a long name. So it's very cool stuff when that shit comes through. Like, I get excited about that because I know exactly what it is because I stare at these guys' records all the time.
Right.
So when he's like, oh, I just heard this city name or whatever it was, and I was like, no way. And he's like, is it something serious? I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, and I can prove it. All right, let's go learn about some rated R pirates. Go ahead and unmute yourself. She's all excited. She wants to listen in.
I'm gonna listen now.
Start a new life. This is what I call a familiar. You guys have all seen the Boo Buddy on your TV shows? You guys, the Boo Buddy? It's a teddy bear with a K2 meter in it. So if a child ghost comes nearby, it'll talk and say, ooh, that tickles because the ghost touched it, so forth and so on. They use that because it's familiar to the child as a toy. Think of that same concept of why we're here. Charleston doesn't have many buildings this old. So this is within the bounds of where tours are allowed to be. So we're hoping that she's going to be here at the same 15 to 20 minutes that we are going to be here. That's the hope. So again, Anne is said to be seen all over town. Hopefully she's here at the same time we are and she followed us around. So here's how this piece of history goes. Now, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Yeah, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's perfectly fine. Anyway, you guys got the joke. I appreciate that. Last night, just kind of stared at me. I'm like, come on, guys. It was a political joke. Have a good time with this. But anyway, so the history begins like right in the middle of its construction. Try to follow me on this one. There's a few twists. I will slow down on those twists. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far?
So she's the illegitimate child.
You got it. The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she kicked them out of the country by boat? Because there's no planes, guys. So normally this is where I warn the gentlemen to be good to your ladies because they'll kick you all the way up to Canada. And we have planes today. So imagine the hardship that these people had to go through coming here by boat in 1708. So let's go ahead and mute that because I'm going to get distracted. Sorry, we're going to be able to put you back to work here in just a minute. Now, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach if you're not familiar with our coast. Dad bought a plantation up there, and then Mom died pretty quickly. So that means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. Mainly rice, if I have my geography right of where their plantation was. There was water there. You need water to make rice. So with that said, that's why we're here, the familiar building. Now, back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass even back then. But they say when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old, remember this is pirate lore, every version has a different age group, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. Can't tell you how many times I've seen servant, knife, and belly come out of all 3 different communication devices, and the other people don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, I have the word servant, I have the word knife, I have the word belly. That kind of thing. I get it all the time. Just to
Befriend?
We had that here the other night, and that could be relative to the doctor and Ralph.
Yeah.
See, this is why you guys keep me around, and you were wondering what the hell I was going to be doing all night long. Sorry, I'm throwing it back at you because I know you can handle it. So,
I'll hit you later, don't worry.
huh?
You call that bleeding?
Yeah. It just depends what else pops up. So again, at this point, it's a very vague clue because it could be relative in a lot of ways.
That would make sense.
It would make sense, but I want something else like Ralph. And by the way, Ralph was an attorney. So the name Ralph isn't always going to show up, but you may hear the word attorney, so forth and so on. That's why I withhold information. I like to see what you guys are going to find, see if it's going to be a genuine experience. There's still more to the doctor story that I haven't told you, but I like to see what you guys are going to come up with. But anyway, back to Anne. Let's fast forward. The building's done in 13, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Let me tell you why. She is going to fall in love with one of these pirates, so that way she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world. So just kind of keep that in mind of the time frame that we're in. So the first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful. That's what makes the story so damn good. We're going to talk about all of them. Yeah, I know, right? So the first guy is James Bonny. You guys already see where this one's going, right? We've already mentioned a pirate name of Anne Bonny. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. And Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her pirate name comes from. However, when she gets down there, she realizes her new husband is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy and a coward for the British. This is not who she wants. She falls in love again a few years later. Guy number 2, John Rackham.
What happened? Did she divorce him?
Nope. Good question.
She killed him?
Nope. She stayed married to him.
And she
ran
got
him.
married again?
Nope. Let me finish the damn story.
My brain is going ahead.
I know, you should be. That's why I tell it the way that I do. I want your guys' brains to
Okay.
spin a little bit. She's kind of killing the spin, right? So, guy number 2 is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who the hell this guy was. He was a real person. Calico Jack has his own crew. He has his own ship. And wants to be part of that crew. You can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody want to guess why or know why you can't put a female on a pirate ship? Keep it family friendly. I get kids on this tour.
I'm guessing because they all want to.
No, it's bad luck.
That's what I would think if they don't want to be only woman
I
on the
don't
ship.
always throw that question out there if there are kids in the tour because you guys all have dirty minds. So again, kind of keep that in mind. But there's no kids on this tour, so I was like, let me dish it back to him. Let me see what I get. But anyway, it's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the crew and look like the crew, then you could be part of the crew. She's okay with this. Why? Because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. All she wants to do is be a pirate. But she's a female in his quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Someone's going to figure out that she's a girl. And then they're going to get...
Pickett. Just think he got fat.
And then gives birth?
Yeah.
Like, really?
All of a sudden there's a baby on board.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So he drops her off in Cuba before she starts to show, so that way they don't vote him off the ship. So he says, these are friends of mine, they'll help you out, come back later. We'll figure it out then. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child, by the way. So none of my research has ever found it.
Wow.
I know. Significant part of the story, though, is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. So, to make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that Jack just captured. Guy number 3, in case you guys were losing track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. You guys with
Wait,
me on that
guy
one?
number 3 turns out to be a female.
Right, dressed like a guy,
Dressed like a guy
who was part of the crew
who's part of the crew.
that
It was-
Calico Jack captured.
Okay, so she falls in love with a female.
Correct.
All right.
Does she know she's a female?
She does now. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So, the names Mary and Mark have both shown up here plenty of times in the past. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We don't really know for sure because of the time
No
frame.
risk of pregnancy.
I know, right? So, the British find out where they are. What's that?
You didn't nickname her Mark?
Her name was Mark. She went to become a pirate, to become part
No,
of
because
the...
it said Mark.
Oh, right there, right
No, I heard Mark. That's
Oh.
what she said. They nicknamed
Mar?
her
M-A-R?
Yeah, I said Mark.
I don't know.
When you just said that, I said Mark.
Interesting. What would have been in your other... Oh, you do have both of them in.
It
Because you
would've
keep
been
going
in
to the
your
one
other
ear.
Oh, no, yeah.
Making that up. It's in the other ear.
I know.
Can you hear it better with just one ear instead of the other?
No, yeah, 'cause
Most
I'm
people,
listening
yeah.
to him, yeah.
Mhm. That's how
That's
most
why
people
I
work.
put it kind of loud.
And they play with the volume back and
Yeah.
forth. Yep, that's what everybody does. So the British find out where this pirate ship is, and they're going to send a whole fleet of ships to take down one measly little pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. So it's obviously not going to work out. 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns trying to go against a whole fleet of Navy ships. Not going to work. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot on your communication. I even got dogs barking from regular spirit boxes as we're entering the space. So take it for what it is. Now, the judge, he wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front by themselves. They
As women? Just as women.
Just beat me to the punch again. They reveal their gender,
Okay.
hoping
sorry.
to save themselves because you can't. Well, I mean, again,
Yeah, they
pirates
don't
weren't
kill
meant to be.
women.
Yeah, but the judge doesn't give a shit that they're women. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they shouted because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. Delays the hanging, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4. So we're going to count Mary because we don't really know.
She's busy.
Right? She has 4 children, dies at the age of 84. That's it.
Oh, wow.
And Mary.
And Mary dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books tell you that it was fever. I'm going to say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? That's a pirate story, right? So, look at you like beat me to the punch on almost every damn line. I love it. So the fact that you guys can see how much research I put into this, because all of the questions that she asked me are normally when I first started giving the story.
Movies too, so
You
it's
should.
not
Oh
just,
God, I could never watch movies with you. I actually me and my wife are like best friends, and we get along super great. We've never even had an argument. I mean, together 8 years, and we've never argued about anything. We cannot. I'm the person where if she starts talking during a movie, I will literally hit the pause
I don't
button.
tell, I just guess. Like, I'll go, oh my gosh, I think that this guy did this.
just goes, yep, that's
Like, if she starts talking, I pause the movie and say whatever it is you're gonna say. And she just looks at me and I'm like, you know I don't do this. I'm a writer. This is important. But anyway, back to the pirates. So, love you dearly. I do. This location, I'm not going to assign questions. This is not a prominent English woman. You don't need to tiptoe around a pirate, right? Kick her in the shins to get your freaking answers. Like, that's the kind of mentality I want you to have here. This is a know your ghost kind of mentality. Also, keep in mind, Dr. Ladd stuff may slip through any of the devices that you're holding. Here's what I left out on purpose, just so you had something to work with. So I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father, the mistress. I did not tell you what those were. I also didn't tell you the name of Calico Jack's ship. So that one will come through, hopefully. We don't see it very often, but hopefully with this group it will. The name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. I didn't even touch on that one other than there's killing the servant in the kind of thing. The last but not least is the color of Anne Bonny's hair. So these are 4 common things that we'll get answers to. It is red.
I was going to say it's not a common.
With what's weird about this, why I started giving that question out is because if somebody is struggling with a spirit box, I try to give them questions that are going to give them 1-syllable answers, because it's much easier for it to come through and them to be able to hear it. So if somebody's like, if he hasn't heard anything all night long, I would say just focus on her hair color, because red is a very common word. So he may likely hear it. So therefore he might actually have something tangible, especially if that's the question he's asking over and over and over again. Anything else you want to ask, by all means do so. A lot of it I may
You
not.
could ask if they were lovers.
You could, but I can't prove it. It would just be a personal experience at that point. So I'm okay with that. Have a personal experience. I don't give a shit. This is your guys' night. I do this every day. So any crazy readings coming out of yours so far? Now, with yours specifically, we don't get, this is not the Pinckney Mansion. So if you get readings on this back half, I'm excited. Not so much on the front half. You have 2 electrical poles, parking meters on the other side of the bushes. You're going to get readings over there just because of those kind of electrical pieces. So the back half, if you even get a 2.5, I'm actually pretty happy. So anything coming crazy out of yours, Joey?
Gender.
We do get a lot of female type stuff here. So you're going to see that a lot.
I had it just set that way when we were
Like
talking
the word
just to
on
see,
as well,
but
because they would have had to come across the pond like that here. It's vague, but we are
that's
talking
fair.
pirates that were on.
That's what it looks like when
Yeah.
That
So
makes
it's
sense.
Float was another one. Again, very vague. I'm not super oh my god, we have the best stuff ever. But it is kind of like if they start hearing things on theirs, it's like, hey, water, boat, paddle, those kind of dinghy, that kind of weird shit.
Right.
On here, you're looking for, we've had Anne's initials show up here before, so AB, and then Mary's initials. Either way, it's MR, so Mary or Margaret.
Okay.
We've even had the word read spelled out for us, so it is R-E-A-D, so in case you get that. And again, most people would look at it that, it's like, oh, I have red. Anne Bonny's hair was red. It sounds the same. I'm like, no, it says read, like Mary Read. Like, what are you looking at? So it's like, read the damn word.
It's that typical English
Right.
that they teach nowadays.
But I do look at phonetic sounds as well, because we've had things out of the Pinckney Mansion site with that device that weren't spelled properly, but the phonetic sound was correct.
Right.
So I have to look,
That's
when
true.
you get it repetitive, weeks apart, that device is very specific. So if we're going to get a word spelled out for us, I've had the word coat show up at the Pinckney Mansion site. Let me tell you why that's relevant. It was C-O-A-T, just like we wear a coat.
Right.
But the son of Eliza, Charles, goes by Charles Coatsworth. So it is C-O-T-E-S
Right.
Worth. So it's phonetically the same, but why would I have the same word there twice? weeks apart.
Right. Yeah.
So, again, I can't make this shit up. So,
So cool.
And it might be a stretch the first time, but not a second time.
Yeah.
And it,
As soon as that happens the second time, that's.
yeah,
It
exactly.
says what?
What's up?
Oh, when it says it, yeah.
And by the way, your smoking isn't bothering me whatsoever.
Okay.
So, I don't know
I
about
try to
anybody
stay.
else,
I
but,
try to go downwind from everybody just to make sure that. Just
the other
feel
heads up, the last
respectful.
space we go to is a non-smoking park.
Okay.
So it'll
So
be a
s-
smoke them if you got them along
So
the way.
Perfect. Appreciate the heads
Yep.
up on that.
Yeah, no, I vape. Not to mention, I smoke a tobacco pipe before every tour. So, I mean, I'm usually in my car smoking a pipe before I meet up with you guys, just to kind of, I never know who I'm getting. I better
Right.
get enough nicotine in me.
I know.
I mean,
Well, and I'm transitioning from actually smoking cigarettes to this, so that's why it's kind of a crutch
Yeah.
right now, isn't it?
I've
Like
been
I
vaping
just have
for
it.
a long time, and it does take a little bit of time. This is actually the first tobacco flavor I've ever had. It's supposed to be a Cuban cigar, which doesn't taste anything like a fucking Cuban cigar. But the fact that I haven't burned a coil for the whole bottle that I bought, I'm actually pretty surprised.
Pretty
Yeah.
Because I normally get like a blueberry or watermelon,
Yep.
and those burn up a coil in like 2
Georgia
days.
peach.
So, but a tobacco flavor, I mean, I already smoke regular tobacco. I mean, it's flavored.
Right.
I smoke a cinnamon and a Christmas flavor, like a clove.
Oh, yeah.
So I smoke pretty premium tobaccos. Like I order it and it's shipped down here for me. Like I'm not going.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't buy the cheap like commercial bag stuff.
Yep.
Like I buy it by the ounce. So that way I have the flavors. They go in glass jars. Like I keep everything fresh. Like
cool.
I have a whole collection of pipes and I rotate them out. I clean them with rum to make sure that they give a little bit of a hunt.
That's-
You clean them with rum to give it a little bit of it. That's cool.
Well, most of them are made out of
Right.
briarwood. So briarwood will actually hang on to whatever alcohol that you clean them with.
Oh, so you
So
don't want to
hold
do
it.
it
And
with.
if I'm gonna have a drink, I normally have a rum and coke, or I'll have a rum and Sprite to make it taste like ginger ale, or a cream soda, depending on your flavor profile.
Right.
But normally, if I have a pipe at home, I'm gonna have a drink with it,
Right.
and it's usually rum.
I
So
didn't
if
even think about that it would hold in the whatever
Yeah.
you're cleaning
it's
it with.
just
so
a hint.
Yep,
And
but
with some of
still.
the strong flavors that I use, like it comes up really nice when I'm going through the like it's a cinnamon
If
and
she's
clove
facing
flavor.
this way and I'm this way, could it do a flash?
It could.
Oh, if we cross?
Yeah, like if you guys kind of like went this way, you're gonna get a definite flash.
Okay.
That's why I said don't ever face each other.
We didn't, but I was facing this way and I got a flash.
She may have jiggled hers a little bit.
Okay. Get me all excited, Nick.
It could be something else. But with my, because I do smoke, so it's like a minty flavor. It's a, I hate to say spearmint, but it's a mint flavored tobacco. It's a long Cavendish, but it's mint flavored. But
Oh, Sherry.
I love it. She's like, we got a full body.
but that rum will give that spearmint just a nice strong throat.
Okay.
Instead of just like that cool mentholy feel.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of a little bit of a bite. But yeah, I'll use Captain Morgan to clean them, believe it or not. Like, I'll
That's
use
awesome.
100 proof. Like I got a separate bottle just for that, and then I use my top shelf stuff to actually drink.
Right.
So my wife's like, "You're gonna put the 100 proof on the pipes?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I am."
Yes, you are.
I'm like, yeah,
love it.
I'm not getting drunk off of smoking.
No.
You know what I mean? I might as well get the bite out of it because that's why it's there. I want it to cut through the ash of what's in there. So
That's awesome.
and that's why you use it. You know, you're supposed to use some type of alcohol. A lot of people actually use vodka.
Oh.
I don't drink vodka, so
Right.
to me, I'd rather have the spice because
Right.
of what I'm smoking. I smoke
Right.
spiced, basically tobaccos. So, but yeah, I'm pretty serious about my tobaccos.
That's awesome.
And if my vape breaks or something happens where it dies, like I'm on freak out, man. I've been smoking too damn long. Is the problem. So
Yeah.
But it's a lot cheaper here than it is in Iowa because I just started with these disposable ones that I like and they're working for right now. They were half of what.
what do you guys get charged up there?
And the one almost like $30 a piece.
Yeah, we're about 20.
Yeah, and they charge me.
Well, we got 3 of them, so they charged 15 a
15.
piece since we got 3.
Yeah.
Just like a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, I get big bottles here, and they're pretty inexpensive versus me ordering. I used to order because I could buy them in bulk. But they stopped shipping to South Carolina because of all the different laws.
Oh.
So now I have to go to the shops.
All right.
Yeah, kind of craziness.
Pay the markup.
But I have my favorite shops, and of course, there's punch cards for all of them.
Yep.
My wife also vapes, so
There
I'll
you
hit the
go.
shops. You know what I mean? We always make sure we have devices that use the same coils. that
Right,
kind of
so you
thing.
can interchange them.
Right. I mean, she has a smaller device. I need something a little bit stronger because of how much I smoke. As a writer, I'm at the desk a lot, so I'm constantly. That's why I smoke a vape. I can't
yeah.
smoke in the house I'm writing. So like a cigarettes and tobacco.
Right.
What are you two getting out of there? Sorry, we've been chatting. I haven't followed up with anything.
I just said, which one was your favorite couple? Was it Georgia? I just said, who was your favorite?
Are you here?
No, I just said Georgia.
Try not to be Blair Witch Project here. I'm getting something. It's not on the people. Babe. It's a big ol'. No, it's like it's not people walking. Is it the tree? Oh, I was like, it's massive. I got a Joey's like, what the heck?
That's the guy you want to go see. That's awesome. The guy's been doing this for almost 30 years. He has got the creepiest voice I think I've ever heard in my life.
Who is it?
His name is Mike Brown. The name of his tour is called Pleasing Terrors. He's a native, so he's from here. He's been doing this a long time, and he's always sold out. Takes 20 people twice a night. Wow. Like, the guy is...
Pleasing Terrors?
Yeah, so me and Mike, he's like my only friend as far as in this industry. He called me because of one of my investigations at a place he was looking to do something for on his podcast. So he and I, if I have a question about something, I email him, and like he's the guy. He's not a historian, but he is damn good at what he does. And what a great storyteller. And with somebody with a master's degree at storytelling, like this guy impresses the shit out of me. So again, I still take his tour once a year, like just as a refresh. And I call him up, I'm like, Mike, I'm gonna be there Thursday. He's like, oh, I'm waiving your ticket. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm paying you, man. Like, so he doesn't really change anything. He just kind of does this thing. And everybody books him year after year after year after year. Yep. He's got a creepy little, like a ventriloquist dummy as his logo. Like, really cool stuff. And again...
Trying to mimic his voice?
No.
Oh.
I can't.
I'm curious to see how he sounds.
Like, he's very... So, I am very outgoing. Like, right, you guys all feel very comfortable with me. So... Shut your mouth. When he talks, you listen. Like, that's the kind of person he is. Like, so, every time I've taken his tour, sometimes I've taken it solo, sometimes my wife was with me. Everybody, all 20 people that he has, focused. Like, laser focused. Because he's not going to raise his voice. He's not going to be like, all right, guys, come on over here. You know what I mean? He's just, and this is where we stop. You know, and he's an excellent storyteller. Oh my God. But anyway, what else do we have going on with our stuff?
Blood here.
What was it?
Blood here. Oh, running now. Just literally said layup.
Anything else on there that I need to know?
I did.
And am I supposed to like focus on the guy?
Get it nice and tight. All four of us. The reason why is because if other tourists are coming through here, I don't need them to see like what the hell I'm doing through my ideas. So I'm okay with them seeing the paranormal investigator on the back of my vest, but again, that's like, hey, what the hell are they doing? All right, so a couple of things. So you are going to be talking in real time. Do not forget to talk. Some people get under there and they just sit, and I'm like, they forgot to tell me like what the hell they're hearing. You're not going to be remembering all this shit. You're supposed to be having a conversation with me, and only you don't know what my end of the conversation is like. It's okay to answer in yes/no answers at this point because you don't know the question. I might be asking our ghost if I'm wearing a black vest. I'm expecting a yes out of you. Does that make sense now? So you're literally going to be telling us in real time whatever you're hearing. A couple of motions that you need to understand. So first off, gentlemen know that I'll never touch you, but when we're done, because I'm only going to keep you under for 10 minutes. So any more than that, newbies get a little disoriented from being blindfolded and being in a virtual reality. So Claudia's going to tap you on the leg when we're done. In the event you start hyperventilating or anything goes wrong, she's also going to tap you on the leg, and you're going to take off your own gear. If you can't, then Claudia is going to do it for you. Okay, so again, things do happen. Secondly, if you're talking too loud, because we are in a neighborhood, there are neighbors behind us, she's going to tap you on the shoulder. Quiet now. If we can't hear you, she's going to lift your ear up and say louder. So it's going to be just like that. So that way we can actually hear you, and that way we can pick it up on the cameras and more. So as far as your end, Joey, you're going to keep things nice and simple. If you see something like two men sitting on a bench with a tree in the background, say two men, bench, tree background. That's it. I'm even going to need to focus on what he's got going on. But if you say tree and he says something relative to the tree, we might actually have something going on. Like, hey, we need to go get an EMF reading by that tree to kind of see what's going on. You guys are getting my point on this, right? Yeah. So with that said, let's get earbuds first. I'm sorry, no. Blindfold first, then earbuds. You're also not going to be touching your spirit box once you get a comfortable volume, because I don't want to make sure you're not cheating. I'm going to set
Your
it.
mask looks great.
Thank you. You hear that, babe?
Tonight's the night.
Let me take your helmet for you so I can pop this in there. Have you ever used VR before?
Once.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and set it up. Let's do it quicker. Let's not get super kinky on this.
All over it.
You're going to see rolling gray smoke in here just so you don't fall asleep, because otherwise it'll be complete darkness. You're going to tell us everything that's not the gray smoke. And a lot of
Tell you
times,
everything that's not gray smoke.
yeah, see how that's gray smoke right now?
Yeah.
There'll be pictures that kind of float in there. So it's not going to be 3D in your face. There'll be 2D.
Right.
And whatever's floating there, that's what you're going to describe to us. You do have a focus on here, so if things are blurry, just move the focus back into it.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Voice canceling headphones.
Yeah, baby.
So have the earpods on, right?
Yep. Go ahead and turn your volume up. You're going to go behind him. Spread them up. Apparently still have Lysol on them because they...
Is that good?
I don't know, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, babe?
Nope, you cannot. Good. Okay, so it is 11:35. Holy cow, we've been out a while. I don't pay attention to time, just so you guys know. Okay, Henry Timrod, if you are here, can you describe your occupation for us, please? We're using both visuals tonight, and I have two males sitting here. So this is Joey and Arnaldo. Arnaldo can hear whatever you want us to hear, but of course, Joey can see whatever you want us to see. Just use the green box and tell the green box what you want us to see. We're going to start with your occupation. Make things nice and simple. I'll keep an eye on them too, because we have like triple digits. You forgot the top tools. Look up here now. Don't forget to tell us what you're hearing.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear anything?
No, just static.
Okay.
Piano.
You did not play the piano that I know of, Henry. Can you tell us what you did to earn money? I need to know your occupation. Let's get some verification that you're here first.
Totally.
Could be relative to his disease, terminal. I don't know that they would have used that term back in the 1860s, but it's something I can definitely dive into.
Wrong.
Any visuals at all, Joey? It is late. When we get a picture, just try to, and you'll know when you get a picture, trust me, it'll start to like appear. It's not going to be in the
Just
green.
music, baby.
Henry Timrod,
God's love.
you want to talk about the church across the street? A lot of times I'll ask real-time questions to get that verification. So, if you could tell me the name, what's the name of the church across the street? Who's it named after? Henry, dress?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your wife? Is that who's in the picture? That's a yes, no question. Can you tell the time period, Joe?
Walking down a hallway.
If you can.
Long dress, not showing any skin. My guess is late 1800s.
It's just static right now.
Is that Katie? Is that Katie, your wife, in the picture, Henry? If so, you could tell me her last name. That would be her maiden name. It was Goodwin. Often get the name good. Go ahead, Joey. Something else?
Like a lady, like fire almost.
These images are not easy to interpret when you see them because they are weird. Like I showed you guys pretty clear pictures from Bing. That is crazy. Notice how Ronaldo got quiet as I'm not asking him questions. That happens all the time. Henry, can you come through? Can you tell us if somebody else is here with you?
Security piano.
Who else is here with you? Can you give us a first name? Henry, who else is here with you? Yeah, I'm trying to get the details. You're not giving me anything. Can you tell me who's here with you? Give us the image as well. Joey will tell us what he sees. It's been about 5 minutes, just so you guys know. This goes by pretty quick. Got a big fat no on there. How long did that come up? It just came out. God is not right. Henry Timrod, we need some specifics. You tell us what you want to talk about. I've asked you several questions with no answers coming directly. You tell us. You've got an individual limit. I have to assume that you want to talk about your wife, Katie.
Yeah, woman singing.
We heard a woman singing. Again, 80% of it will be research report.
You good?
You just look very relaxed.
This, I am fully engaged in this.
I'm focused.
Static still.
Henry, did you bring somebody else here with you? Is somebody interfering with our conversation? Who else is here? Can you give us your first name? Or some kind of imagery so I can take a good guess of who you are?
Different.
You're in the Bible Belt. We get a lot of nervous.
Movie music.
Henry.
A priest.
Church stuff. Can you tell us what sound we normally hear out of the church? It's probably coming up here very soon. What sound do we normally get? We've had that word spelled out. We've had it short there. We've had them repeat it. The word bells shows up a lot when looking at this. You got any EMFs at all? Because this is actually going on, which only is working with EMF. Henry.
Idea from the video.
Idea from the video. We are recording all of this with different machines that you probably are not familiar with. Henry. Any clue or verification?
Image.
We need to see an image. Can you show us the image that you want to talk about? Henry, show us an image of what you want us to talk about. Get close to the green box.
Holy music again.
Do you want us to leave? Do you want us to go home?
Holy music
Cross.
again.
And a cow. I don't know. Like
One more painting.
Okay, you just said no more painting. I don't want to show you images. There's that sound, Henry. What's the sound we're hearing? I've literally had bells spelled out on the Ouija board after asking that question. Is it buy or high? Well, any of our ghosts that would haunt this place, we're not going to use the phrase high. It would be more hello. You have to think of the time frame these people come from. Henry, what sound did we just hear?
Productions.
Something with corrections. Oh, I was going with something with Trump on the news. There's a lot of religious things going on here. I can't figure out where. We got 1 minute, Henry. Last chance. Any verification that you're actually here? Give us another religious term or another religious image. I'll take that.
Woman singing.
Still like the answer of what we've heard out of the church that verifies that you're here watching. It's going crazy.
Accident.
What type of accident?
Man accident.
You weren't a fighter, Henry. I don't think anything of that is relevant.
Rock and roll music. Piano.
It says pool.
He was poor. We get that word here, probably 5 out of 7. He's supposed to be telling the lyrics too, but you guys are going to hear the end of this as when we get to the recording. So it's the last 10 minutes. So I have him shut it off and end the recording.
And then you will listen.
Yep. So, Henry, we're going to call it. Can you say goodnight to us? Or show us an image that says goodnight? It's been about 11 minutes. We're going a little over. Joey, nothing? Henry's been quiet tonight. Buddy, go ahead and tap him out. Joey, go ahead and peel that thing off your